Okay, welcome to anatomy, and today we're going to look at the sheep brain and make comparisons to the human brain. So first let's look at the frontal area right here, and then we have the parietal lobes and the temporal lobe and the occipital lobe. Then let's talk about a gyrus. And a gyrus is a ridge. So we have many ridges in the cortex. And the sulcus is a furrow. So we have a central sulcus here, which runs deep into the cortex. Then we have the longitudinal fissure running from the anterior to the posterior side of the brain, separating the left and right hemispheres of the brain, the cerebral hemispheres. Then we have the lateral sulcus, which would be in here, not very clear, underneath the pia mater. And we have the cerebellum and the pons and the medulla oblongata. On the ventral surface, we have the olfactory bulbs here, including the tract along here. And we have the optic nerves. The nerves come out. And then we have the optic chiasm and the cerebral peduncle, which would be inferior to the thalamus, back in here. And we also have the pituitary gland. Now, it's not very clear in here, but the pituitary gland should be just hanging down in front of the mammillary. Then looking toward the inside, or the posterior side, we can see the sections of nerves. Up here we have the olfactory, would be the olfactory bulbs, and then we would also have here the optic nerves coming out from here, and we would have the oculomotor nerve, which might possibly be these on the sheep brain, but on the human brain they would extend from here. And we would have the trochlear nerve, the CN4. Now, the CN4 would normally come from deep to the pons and come around the front. And then we have the trigeminal nerves, which should be about, in the human brain, about this location, coming out from here, the side of the pons. And then we would also have the cranial 7, which is the facial 5 nerves. Now, the facial 5 nerves should be coming out from this area and just posterior to the pons and superior to the medulla oblongata. Then we would also have the following nerves of the vestibulocochlear and glossopharyngeal, the vagus, accessory, and hypoglossal nerves would all extend out from the inferior side of the pons and laterally to the medulla oblongata. Then next, let's move on to the deep area, looking at the dorsal side of the brain. We would have the midbrain. Here you can just see the midbrain. And here we'll have the corpora quadrigemina, which is just superior in midbrain, and that would consist of the superior colliculi and the inferior colliculi, and they will run actually right here, superior and inferior. Then we would have the pineal body. Now, if this was joined together, the pineal body would be anterior of both the colliculi, which are just under the thalamus. Then we would also have, looking sagittally at the brain, we have the cerebellum, and this open space would be the fornix. The corpus callosum would be in through here. You can also view that a little better here. And then we would have the lateral ventricles, both sides. Now, the lateral ventricles will be in there, deep. The intermediate mass of the thalamus would actually be in this section, and the cerebral peduncle would be posterior to the thalamus, and inferior to the thalamus and posterior to the pons. Then we have the medulla oblongata, which would be this section in here. And the fourth ventricle will be just deep to the medulla oblongata and behind or posterior to the pons. Then the corpora quadrigemina will also be in this section, and the cerebellum would be arbor vitae, which is actually named after the fronds, which when it's cut sagittally will give us the appearance of a tree, meaning it's the tree of life. So the fronds of the gyri would actually be in the cerebellar cortex, and it would be the gray matter. And as stated before, the pineal in the human brain would be right in here. Okay, and so that concludes today's session on biology. Thank you.